Developed and published by Bloober Team, The Medium is a psychological horror game played in third person. Starting out, you will prepare for a funeral for your foster parent, and you'll have to look for a couple of items to progress the story. You'll do this by walking around the area with what feels like old Resident Evil 1 controls for the PlayStation 1 but upgraded to 1.5. Feels like driving a tank with added mobility. The camera cannot be adjusted, and the only way to manipulate it is by zooming in on objects of interest, and it's very limited. From what I've played, there's no crafting, but you can combine simple items. The different areas that the game takes place in are very detailed with atmosphere. Some places you cannot explore, and you'll have to use a power that lets you perform an out-of-body experience. This will put you in a different world. I would describe it as an alternate universe of the dead, like a spirit realm. You can then manipulate things that would in turn affect the normal world so you can proceed. You also have another power that will reveal things to you that cannot be seen with normal vision. You can use this as much as possible since there was no usage meter attached. The other power that I used was a personal shield known as a spirit shield that can protect you in the dead spooky realm. When you make it to a certain point in the game, you will be able to navigate the normal world and the other realm at the same time. When trying to manipulate certain items in the exact same space, there will be different keys and buttons for the specific object. Playing this with an RTX 2070 Super was very good in the beginning, but started to act kinda weird later on. Maxing all the settings out, I was getting well over 100 FPS with temps never reaching 80C on the CPU, and GPU usage was in the 90s. Switching to the medium settings, there was an increase in FPS, reaching 160 FPS in some scenes, and the temp still staying the same, which was under 80C. Usage for the GPU dropped to the 80s. Dropping the settings to its lowest, FPS increased in the 140s and reaching above 175 at times. Temp still staying under 80, and the usage dropped even further to the 60s. I guess there's not much to stress it, so no sense in increasing usage. Am I right or am I wrong? Anyway, all this is great, but the weird part I was talking about is what I'm going to show you now. There is so much fluctuation in the FPS, it's very hard to gauge, so I'm just going to let you judge. This is the low settings. It's pretty high because of the footage video, and I can expect the drop because it is now out in an open area. Now, as soon as she gets off the motorcycle, boom! Around 40 FPS, unless you are inspecting an object, as well as low GPU usage. Moving into the force, the FPS increases. In a closed area with dual screens, the FPS drops back down to the 40s. Viewing an image, the usage increases to the 90s and the FPS spikes to 180. What? This is still low settings, but the FPS drops when the screen changes while running. At the time of this recording, over on Metacritic, the game has a score of 76 for PC and 71 for Xbox Series X. On Steam, the game has a mostly positive score with 311 positives and 83 negative ratings. The Medium, in my opinion, is an okay game, but I hate the controls, and the fixed camera, sucks. I'm not a fan of puzzlers, but the story was interesting, and it did have a few creepy moments, especially at the start. As always, watch a few reviews of the game in action before making a purchase, as one is not enough. Also, buy from platforms such as Steam, who have a generous refund policy. Wrapping up, I hope you enjoyed the video, and please share if it helped you. Until next time, Meanpooh, out.